There it is. This case, unreal. This is a family, beautiful neighborhood, $1 million home, but in the garage they put a little addition. It was a room, a square room, a box, if you would, that had a bed in it, a camera, and a bucket. And the allegations are that's where they kept an adopted teenage boy. In the box in the garage. Everyone else is in the house. Beautiful house, beautiful pool, the whole thing down in Palm Beach County. Michael Ayala has the latest on the case against Timothy Ferriter.
Tim and Tracy Ferriter were arrested in February of 2022. The parents of 4 were charged with aggravated child abuse and false imprisonment of their 14-year-old adopted son.
On the single-car garage was where there was a room built in there.
The Ferriters are accused of physically abusing their child and forcing him to live in an 8x8 box they had custom built in their garage.
He asked me to build a box, basically, and he asked me on top of that to build a ceiling for that box. He asked me to add a deadlock to the door.
A month before the Ferriters were arrested, their contractor, who was told he was building an office, tipped off the police that something wasn't right.
He asked me to reverse the locks. On my way home with my employee, something felt wrong to me, and the only reason I could come up with is that it's not an office, and this place is made to lock a person inside.
On January 28, 2022, Tracy Ferriter called 911 to report her son had run away. Police soon discovered the strange room in the garage. She told police several stories: that it was built to be an office, that it was used for storage, and that it was a timeout spot for the missing boy, who she said suffered from behavioral issues. But surveillance video showed the child was forced to stay in there up to 18 hours a day. Police found the boy at his middle school a day later. He told them his parents were abusive and violent towards him. And he told the police about the box-like room he had to stay in with nothing in it but a mattress and a bucket. His siblings confirmed his allegations.
I do have available to testify via Zoom. We're providing her depo, and just for the record, she is a minor, and so she should be referred not by her name or to FF.
Prosecutors allege the Ferriters had been physically abusing and confining their son since 2017. The couple says the reason they locked him in the room was because he suffers from reactive attachment disorder, which causes him to lash out. And they say they never abused him.
We don't know if the child is being honest with us. There is a history in this case of him being dishonest with the police.
Tim Ferriter's case was severed from his wife's after his attorneys argued her inconsistent statements to the police could hurt his chances of a fair trial. They are being tried separately, and both face up to 30 years in prison.
All right, jury selection begins on Friday, folks. Florida versus Timothy Ferriter, accused of building this box and putting his adopted teenage son in it. So why are they having jury selection on Friday? Because of what happened today. The case could have been resolved today. He was in court via Zoom and offered a plea deal. 24 months. That's 2 years. 24-month deal. Turned it down, now facing over 30 years in prison. Let's bring back in our think tank, Renee Hill, Mike Jafer, and Brian Silber. Brian, I know it's difficult for someone who's a first-timer, right? Doesn't have the long criminal history to say, yeah, lock me up for 2 years. What on earth is this defense going to be? The guy who built it said, yeah, he told me to put the lock the other way so someone would be locked inside.
You know, I got a much bigger question. Why is the prosecution offering only 2 years on what sounds like an extremely heinous crime? You know, it makes me wonder as a defense lawyer that they have an evidentiary problem. Why would they go so lightly? Locking a child in a box in the garage? I mean, it doesn't sound like there's any defense to that. But the prosecution's actions tell me maybe there is. I really thought this was going to be a major not guilty until I heard the plea offer. I almost can't believe it. There has to be more to this story. And for this guy to go to trial, he knows what he's up against. He knows what he's dealing with. There might be, I don't even want to say an explanation, but there's got to be more to this story. Otherwise, I think he's made a terrible mistake. He would have only served 85% of that sentence, gotten out maybe a year and a half or so.
Yeah, and I understand like a year and a half locked in a box could be bad. Much like for Renee, the child locked in the box. Only if you're in prison, you have an actual toilet, not a bucket.
Yes, Vinny, I agree, but I agree with what Brian is saying, that it seems like at this point that there's something wrong with the prosecution's case for them to come in with such a low offer. Because I remember we talked about this case months ago, or even when it first began, and we just could not understand what kind of a defense they were going to put up. It sounds so horrible, and the only thing that we could think of back then when it first happened was that possibly there were resources that the family sought out for these behavioral issues, that perhaps they were denied help to help this child with the behavioral issues, and that this was all they could think of to do to try to keep him from lashing out and protect the rest of the children in their household. But I don't even know if that's going to fly before a jury, but they must have something up their sleeves for the client to reject 2 years and for the prosecution to come in so low on a case with facts like this.
So, Michael Schaefer, what are your thoughts here on, do you think this will be a trial where they go after the victim, where they go after the teenager? He's out of control. This kid is a menace. But these people had money. They're sophisticated. They live in $1 million home. They have access to whatever you need to take care of your child. I mean, they had enough money to build a box in the garage.
Yeah. They're going to have to, Vinny. You're right. And you know why? If there was evidence that this kid, let's look at it in reverse. Let's say there was evidence that the kid was a saint. He delivered lunches to underprivileged kids on the weekend. He was a perfect model kid. And on top of that, his evil, heinous adopted parents locked him in a cage. The prosecutor would be salivating at introducing that evidence, and he wouldn't be offering them a 2-year deal, right? So the fact that he's offering them that deal, and the fact that that defendant looked like he was holding a winning hand on that Zoom hearing, he seemed smug, he seemed confident, and he rejected the plea. So they're going to have to go after the kid. They're going to have to say all the things that you just said. He was a danger. We adopted him when he was 14. He had behavioral issues. We were trying to do a benefit to society, and it just failed. The lesser of both evils was to detain him at night when he was asleep. So I agree. That's what they're going to have to do.
I agree with your assessment of the way he looked. I just noticed it. I looked in his eyes. Yeah. Wow. All right.
Very smug.